Thank you so much for having me here this afternoon. I'm so honored that to share the insight of SKW Realty about the market, the real estate market trend, and what we are going to expect in the next few months. Today, I invite my two of the top agents, Kelvin and Tu, to come and talk about the current Houston real estate market and the future Houston real estate market and how the interest rate is going to affect the market changes. Kelvin?
So Houston real estate market is on an uptrend right now. It's a very strong buyer's market. Even though the interest rate is a little bit high, the market price of the home is stabilized. And what's happening with rates is you date the rate and marry the home. But other than that, it's like everybody is buying. There's not one person not looking. Everyone is just trying to time it perfectly and have the right time on it. So, Tu?
Okay. Tu, what do you think about the market changes?
The market changes, I think it's a needed step back for the market because it cannot just keep going up. It has already been going up for the past few years. So now it's going, it started going more steady. And I think it's needed for the buyers to be more aggressive when they buy, and for the sellers to be more to be more careful when they list their house. They have to pay attention to the price to take care of the properties, because you can't just list your homes at any price you want. You have to get an agent to price them at the correct price and do the staging, do the right advertising for your properties in order to get a good offer, because homes can just sell themselves right now.
That's right. It's really true. We are actually at the dynamic environment right now. So the high interest rate is really cooled down the market for the past few years. So Kelvin, what do you think about the interest rate is going to affect in the next few months and what we are going to expect?
So interest rate is not a big issue because interest rate right now is like 6.25. Sometimes it's like floating. Last week it was like almost like 7, but it went back down a little bit. But everyone is so worried about the interest rate, but they're not looking at the bigger picture, because at the end of the day, the home price is kind of like at the lower end, but then you have a higher interest rate. You put that down as your down payment, but your monthly payment is a little bit up. But let's say 6 months down the road, it drops down to like 5%, even though you're paying like a 6.25. That 1% makes a huge difference. What happens is you can literally refinance your home and cash out if you need to. If not, then you can just refinance to a lower payment and just leave all the equity in there if you want. But majority of the people, they will cash out and take their money and put it in something else, because the same payments, it'll be the same payments or either a more of a payment if you decide to cash out. But today's market is, don't worry about the rate, worry about the house, because location, location, location. We don't have that many homes in the area anymore, so
especially in the highly demand areas.
Yes, highly demand areas like Bridgeland, Sugarland. You're looking at Katy, and schools is very important to families. So those high demand areas, there's not much homes, so prices of those homes will be a little bit higher. But think about the rate. If it drops to 5, your home will go up in equity probably like 20,000, 30,000, depending on how the market moves. So
right. And what I usually advise my clients is right now, not a lot of buyers are buying. So when you see a home that you like, let's say you can put in a reasonable offer, and it's easier. You have higher chance to win that house rather than you wait until interest drops. Everybody start jumping in to buy. And then you would have to bid against 5 or 10 other buyers, because if you like that house, chances are the other 10 buyers will like the same house, and then you will have a bidding war, and the price of the home price will increase like crazy.
Yeah, so right now there's a lot of cash buyers right now, especially because people are waiting on the sideline. They piled all this cash, and there's like, I'm just gonna pay cash straight up when there's a nice house that I really like. And most of the time, it'll beat almost every kind of loan out there because it's a quick close. They'll usually average around like 14-day close or 10-day close. You can't beat that. You know, versus a loan, you have
contingency.
30 days or even like during the underwriting process, that's like what happens to everybody.
Right.
It's very stressful, high alert, and people that go into these loans are like, sometimes you don't get qualified or sometimes in the future you lose your job and it kind of gets all scrambled up, so those people are kind of stuck.
Yeah, usually the market is usually go by the interest rate. Like most of the buyers, they still buy according to the interest rate changes. Like usually when the interest rate going down, then the house price will going up. So they are actually related to each other all the times. Like the key factors, like the multifamily and those big development, they are still continue to create opportunity in Houston. So we still have quite a lot of potential buyers in Houston market despite the high interest rate. So it all depends on how you go ahead and help those buyers up there. Right?
Yep.
Yes, I think even if it's if the interest rate is high, but if you plan out your strategy the right way, you can still get the home that you like, and then still be able to make it work.
Yeah,
Right.
financial planning is very important, you know, so if you could reach out to either one of us, we can actually help you get with a lender that can kind of break down the whole list of your monthly payment versus renting. You know, right now the rental average market rate is like between $1,700 and $3,900
Some even
a month.
more, yeah. In
Yeah.
like highly demand area, it's the same like you paying for a mortgage already.
Yeah, so it really depends on how you do your financial planning. Yes, if you have some bad credit, we can actually help you out and find
Yes.
people to work on your credit and build it back up. But the most important is sit down with anyone that is an expert into this kind of field of real estate to kind of go into this market trend and educate you, average, have a breakdown of all the pricing of your monthly, your insurance, your budget. You know, you won't know until what you can afford or not.
Yeah, looking ahead, we are actually going to face the stabilizations as the inflation is, so the lending is actually become more stable
Yeah, and talking about
and
tariffs.
more predictable too.
I think the tariffs is one of the
Yeah.
reasons why people are the market is hitting a pause right now
Right.
because all the buyers are scared. They don't know what they're jumping into. But then
Yeah.
again, I've heard people say that, oh, I'm gonna wait for the home price to go down and I'll buy, and then I will buy. But it's been like 5 years, and home prices still keep going up.
Yeah,
Right.
it's because tariffs is not going to be a big issue. It's because tariffs are only part of like the goods, especially with resale homes. Those are not going to get hit as much as new construction.
The new construction homes,
New
yes.
developers are going to get hit the most because they have to pay on the tariffs and staffing, and especially with like immigration happening and deportation. Like a lot of the workers that were hardworking earned people were in the situation of building those homes. Yes, they were not here legally, but yes, it'll start that kind of trend where prices are going to go up on development
Right.
homes. Older homes, the resale value is always going to be going up because those areas are all sold out.
Right.
There's no land that you can develop.
Especially with the area that has really good school districts, and people are always trying to get into those homes in those areas for their kids. And you know, there's limited. There's only certain homes that are up on the market for sale. So
Right. So talking about the tariff going on, I get many questions about what do you think about the home price in the next few months. So many people, they actually predict the home price will going up, but some of them, they will think that the home price is going down because people choose not to buy. So there are many different kinds of opinions in the market right now. So what do you guys think about the home price in the next few months?
The home price in the next few months is always going to go up, especially with the older communities that are more developed. If you go more towards like newer development outside the skirts of the city, it's going to be a little bit less because there's so much development going on. So it's very competitive. People are like fighting each other, trying to get the best price out there on the outskirts of Houston. But if you're in like the city of the center, like Sugar Land, Houston, downtown Montrose, those are going to be like your prime time real estate, you know, especially with land that's out there, the home of craftsmanship back there. It's not cookie cutters anymore.
Yeah, I don't think homes in those areas that Kelvin mentioned will ever go
down.
And yes, if they do, it will probably be like
a tear down.
Right.
Yeah. So anything in the city, inside the city of Inner Loop, if you tear it down or rehab it, then yes, you get those at the lowest of the lowest.
Right. But then after you're done,
it costs almost the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so true. I can tell the developers still continue focus on deliver the long-term value projects. They did create a lot of good projects up there.
And it's also because Texas is ranking like one of the top states to live in the U.S. right now. So I have so many investors and clients from out of states, New York, California, wanting to move to Texas. Because why not, right?
I mean, it's because the investment side, you get a higher ROI, right? Versus in California or New York or New Jersey, those houses are like, you're looking at the millions. Versus over here, you can start off something with that same size of a home, about close to like 350,000 here.
Or if they sell their property over there for millions, they come over here and they would have like a giant mansion.
They'll have a good portfolio, you know, because if, let's say they sell something in Los Angeles, right? They're pocketing like $20 million. They can take that $20 million and build a real estate investment portfolio here.
Definitely.
And own about probably like 50 to 90 properties instantly.
And retire early.
And retire early, yeah.
Because you'll have like a financial freedom, like the passive income.
Very passive. Yeah.
So by that means, so the strong shifting demographic needs is going to continue to grow the Houston real estate market.
I think so. No matter what anybody say, I think Houston market will, even if it's hitting a pause or steady at the moment, but it will be strong and stronger.
It's going to be stronger, and the strongest for a while is because you cannot compete with other states right now. If you think about it, Seattle, California, those homes, you don't see anything in the low 350s.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you're looking for something like a mansion or some that kind of level of a size, like almost like 5,000 square foot, you're under 2 million here, you know, versus over there, you're at 30 million, 40 million, you know. So these houses, the prices are completely different. So our market trend over here is always going to keep growing.
And also the cost of living here in Texas is lower too.
We have less taxes here too.
Exactly. And there are also talks of erasing the capital gain tax.
Capital gain tax.
And imagine when that happens.
But we don't have state income tax either. So that makes a big difference for Texas.
Yep.
You know, sometimes I heard a lot of customer from California or the other out-state customer, they always say that, oh, I don't want to move to Houston because the taxes is so high in Houston.
The property tax?
Yeah, they talk about the property taxes is higher compared to where they came from. So how can you explain it to those customers?
So, I mean, property tax is always going to be high because we don't have state income tax, right? But at the end of the day, you can protest your taxes. And that's the problem with people that aren't really educated into the real estate market and they just bought something but didn't know how to maximize their real estate investment. So if it's your primary home,
residence.
you can do homestead exemptions and you can kind of like lower your taxes and not pay so much. Yeah. So
Right.
Of course, you have to put work into it. But there are actually companies and other organizations that would help you fight that tax if you don't want to do it on your own.
Correct. Like, let's say if a mature neighborhood, the taxes can be lower too because they are more well developed.
Yeah, so
the cost has been shared by everybody who move in to the neighborhood and the nearby neighborhood.
Yeah, so the more developed the neighborhood, the lower the taxes is, right? So it works out in all ways. The only place that I can think of that has the highest taxes is still in Pearland, you know, and
also the newer developments, like Harvest Green in Richmond or some other ones like above 3.5. But it's only because
better amenity,
right? And also for when they first develop the land and the communities, they have to put in a lot of work. But then within the 10 years, it will start to go down slowly.
I think it starts going down every 2 years or so because a
little bit at a time. But then I'm saying like after 10 years, it will be like a mature community, and then the tax will be like around 2 point something. Which is very affordable.
Correct.
For the low home price.
But they also need to think about this way though. Like let's say a home worth $500,000 in Houston, if we move the exactly same home to California, it's going to be over $1 million.
Over like at least
1.5 million.
Actually depends on where you move it to.
And what size of the home, you know?
But always, of course, the price will be a lot.
Even though they multiply a bigger percentage of the tax rate, actually the taxes is almost the same.
Yeah, it's just because of the value of it.
Houston is actually even lower.
Yeah, so.
All right, so far at SKW Realty, we still remain optimistic. So we will continue to invest the project which we believe in. So we will continue to stay strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
So other than that, we have two over here in the corner. We have Serene, and then my name is Kelvin. So if you want to keep up with this real estate trend and you want to know how the market is moving, follow us to our next episode.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next week.